So, ladies and gentlemen, Yusmarni is a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Humanities at Andalas University. She has an interdisciplinary academic background. She completed her undergraduate in linguistics and literature from Andalas University, a master's in American Studies from Michigan State University in the USA, and a PhD degree from the Department of South and Southeast Asian Studies, University of California, Berkeley, the USA. And she is interested in research, including Western civilization and South and Southeast Asian history, particularly intellectual history, culture, literature, and of course, linguistics. And then in this occasion, she will be talking about Bakayat, endangered oral traditions in West Sumatra. I would like to remind Ibu Man again, so you have 20 minutes, Ibu, for the presentations, and then we will have 15 minutes for the questions and answer session. Okay. And again, I would like to remind the audience, if you have any questions, you can ask them directly after the presentations, or you can write them down on the chat box. Ibu Man, time is yours.
Thank you, Pak. Let me get the... if you will just help me with the question if they posted in the chat room, Pak, ya?
Yes, we will do that.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable guests, keynote speakers, invited speakers, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to be here with you today to share my research on the sustainability of local tradition and therefore local language. I should apologize for being absent for some time because of the power outage at my place, and I need to save the battery because my battery is already at 40%. So I need to save it, otherwise we are going to be doomed. It is my turn to take you to traverse a topic still at the sustainability, but this time of the tradition and local language. My topic for this afternoon is Bakayat, endangered oral tradition in West Sumatra. So Bakayat is actually it is performed in Nagari Mungka, not quite remote, but not in the urban places. It is near Payakumbuh, Nagari Mungka at Kabupaten 50 Kota. It is at the interior highland of West Sumatra. This is a preliminary historical research on traditional oral literature, primarily aimed at documenting and the performance and collecting its scarcely written sources. So it is still in the phase or in the stage of preliminary research, as well as obtaining personal archive. Bakayat, together with other traditional literature, traditional oral tradition, is one of the traditional popular entertainment in West Sumatra. But some of them is still around. But Sijobang, for instance, Kaba, Randai, Saluang, Sijobang, and Sijobang is almost extinct. So we are a little bit better. Bakayat is a little bit better than Sijobang. Bakayat itself is a religious sung narrative or storytelling performance in the form of 1 to 3 tukang kayat singing out poetic narratives to a village crowd audience. The name Bakayat itself is a local dialect for Malay verb hikayat, berhikayat, or telling a story. On the performance, unlike the performances of other performances like Saluang, another kind of Minangkabau oral tradition, which combine traditional musical instruments with the narrative, which mostly sung by males, but the music played by male, but the narrative mostly by female. Bakayat is performed by singing only. So it is a singing, a poetic literature, which is read from the written sources, written text without musical background. Saluang, for instance, have different impact on the society. Saluang audience is mostly youngsters. The theme or the topic of the narrative is mostly about the youth life. Sometimes the narrative are considered too indecent. There was a period in Mungka, in the place where I conducted this research, when Saluang was prohibited totally in the society. But unlike Saluang, the performance of Bakayat received no cultural resistance, for it is in line with Minangkabau self-identification as Muslim, best reflected in the adat customary principle, which says adat basandi sarak, sarak basandi kitabullah. Minangkabau aphorism means custom is based on Sharia, Sharia is based on the Holy Book. Bakayat also found in other places in West Sumatra, with slightly different names. The performance of the same name, Bakayat, is also found in other places outside of West Sumatra, such as in Sasak Society, in Lombok, but also in other part of West Sumatra, and also in Riau, in some part of Riau. I skip one slide. So I return back. The language used in Bakayat is literary variety of indigenous Mungka dialect of Minangkabau. It is usually performed in the villages' houses who hold festivities preceding important religious and traditional rituals or rite of passage such as wedding, circumcision, turun mandi, or other thanksgivings. It is also commonly found in a smaller festivity occasions such as Badua, Sedekah Nasi, a simple and humble feast intended as syukuran. In Java, people used to say there is an equal event in Java which is called Selamatan ya Pak ya, Pak Job. Selamatan, often held in welcoming fasting month of Ramadan and other Thanksgiving. Bakayat, like other oral tradition, has twofold function: religious education and entertainment. All stories in Bakayat contain religious themes, covering quotidian practices of Islamic teaching, prophetic stories, and eschatological narrative, belief in Islam to be experienced by every human being. So this is what make it, accepted in society and has no resistance, unlike Saluang. On Tukang Kayat, the narrators. Bakayat was performed by two narrators born and bred in Mungka, where this study was conducted. The first narrator was considered the main storyteller. He is committed and dedicated to performing Bakayat since he started it for the first time. His co-narrator or assistant changed from time to time. The performance was usually performed in this duo format. So never in a solo format, always in duo format or three people. As far as I'm concerned, as far as my experience, the Bakayat never been performed in a single or solo performance. Bakayat was his part-time job. The main profession of the narrators was Islamic propagation over dakwah. He was also a mudo, junior leader of Sufi order. It is common in the village that people of a certain level will affiliate themselves to Sufi order, and he himself is called Khalifah, by which he was known and commonly addressed. He was the grandson of another notable Sufi leader, which became the grand guru or suhu of most of the Sufi leaders in the area. So unlike most of the previous generation of Tukang Kayat, who passes the skill from generation to generation within their family circle, these narrators learn it from a woman narrator, Mak Sume, who was not related to him by blood. While the second narrator lived around, closer to my house, his main livelihood is farming. After working for some years as sand gatherer from village main river Batang Sinamar. So in his spare time, he is doing the Bakayat, but mostly he was a sand gatherer, and sometimes he went to jungle to pick up some errands. Like Ahmadison, the first narrator. The second one, Ide does not have a high secular formal education. So the first one did not have a formal education. He is, Ahmadison had only elementary school as his formal secular education. However, in studying Islam, he was a serious and committed itinerant student who studied from various places and from many gurus, while Ide only studied it from many surau and learned the Arabic gundul, how to read the Jawi from small guru in small surau. He was interested in and learned Bakayat from a man named Rashid Gilo, the Mat Rashid, once a known tukang kayat in Mungka. The kayat master was so called as he underwent a mental breakdown, which most people believe was due to economic pressure at that time. So even though he was already mad, but when you meet them, when you meet him, if you ask him to do Bakayat, he's still, like a pro performing Bakayat. But he never been invited, of course, because of this mental breakdown. On Bakayat audiences, the audiences of Bakayat performances normally comprises of members of the hosting family, their close and distant relative, and their neighbors. So this is like a small circle in a small neighborhood. The audiences are all ages, from children to adult and to older people. They come from various educational and occupational background. The biggest composition of audiences now are adult and elderly. Compared to the past, in the past, when there is no internet and only limited and boring TV station available, number of young audiences today has decreased significantly. So if you go to a Bakayat today, it's like a gathering of lansia, a gathering of all elderly people. Very few teenagers join the crowd. Most watch television and use their gadget. The audience was interactively involved in the narration of stories by spontaneously responding and commenting in colloquial language, just like the performance of Shakespeare. Between the narrator and audience were very fluid. They interact and no space, no distance between them. So they mingle even in physical distance. There's no such thing as personal distance. This is on the history of Hikayat. Hikayat, the stories or Hikayat of the Bakayat are narrated in a very simple and monotonous rhythm, not like Saluang with accompaniment of traditional musics. But Bakayat is always monotonous, rhythmic, poetic singing. They use the local Mungka dialect written in Jawi or Arab Gundul, or Malay borrowing of Arabic script without diacritic marks. And the main depository of the Hikayat is found in handwritten books. It is rare now, but yes, indeed, it is in handwritten book. The narrators believe that Bakayat originally existed in Mungka, where I conducted the research. I'm skeptical about it, but this is a preliminary research. I have not yet found any proof to that claim. Initiated by some ulama who returned from Mecca and brought with them some eschatological stories, life during early Islam and the life of the Prophet Muhammad. This first generation of ulama tukang kayat modified the stories and rewrote them in the vernacular local languages. According to the Ide, the second narrator, his teacher owned the original copy and asked him to take and save it if she died. Unfortunately, When she died, no one knew the books were about. In the past, these valuable sources were duplicated by hand copying from the original book, such as owned by Ide. I happen to collect that in photocopy form. Inspired by the source, some earlier generation of Tukang Kayat also created other stories with modification and to accommodate local needs. Unfortunately, there is no new book written. The narrators solely rely on what is left by the previous generation of Tukang Kayat. We wish that they adapt, a new, they make some updated stories, but no, up to now they still rely on that Tukang Kayat repository. Today, existing books are disseminated and preserved through photocopying, like what I did. This is some of the repertoire. The repertoire consisting of the quotidian stories of the Prophet Muhammad and also the Prophet Ibrahim, or Abraham. This is one of the example of the narratives. I'm going to read it in the original language, in the indigenous local language. I happen to be one of those who live in this village, and I happen to know the language. Takut dan rusuh apalah dikato, anak jo cucu lupo di sana. Badan menangguang luluh teraso, sondi jo tulang rusuh sagalo. Ruruk sagalo. Suatu riwayat dongala tolan, kobar Ibrahim Rasul pilihan. Suatu hari mau kasanan, Ibrahim bakato wahailah tolan. Ambo sakarang sanaklah cinto, mengambil nyau palian rupo. Mau min de pasia supaya nak nyato, joko lain mungkin paliatkanlah ambo. Kepada Ibrahim mau bakato, wahai Ibrahim saudara ambo, joko lau itu hajat sungajo, piciang kalah mato dengan sugiro. So this is a story of the Prophet Ibrahim met with the angel of death and asked the angel of death to show his, to show his existence, to show him physically. And this is one of the example of the narrative. Now on the Bakayat sustainability. Bakayat, as found in Mungka, is surviving. It is still there, but seriously endangered. According to Ahmadison, the co-narrators were the only survivors Tukang Kayat in the entire region of 50 Kota. Still, this claim need to be further researched. But to take the safe stand, we better be alerted by this claim that they were the only Tukang Kayat existed in the region up to today. The enthusiasm toward the performance was quite high if judged from the number of audience attendance. The narrators received requests to perform Bakayat from neighboring villages and distant villages within the Kabupaten. They were occasionally asked to perform in other provinces as well, such as in Riau, Jambi, and even in North Sumatra. However, the frequency and the kind of event in which they used to be asked to perform were declining, as well as the number of the young audiences, which the narrator believed was significantly impacted by the penetration and accessibility of modern technology, such as electronic media that reach even the remotest villages. It doesn't come as a surprise to us. Even in the village now, even in the sawah, people are using gadgets. So this impacted the tradition or the Bakayat greatly. Used to be one of the most attended performances in the area, Bakayat is no longer popular among young audiences who prefer modern entertainment, now made available and accessible through new technology such as internet. Besides, the story and narrative of Bakayat remain in their traditional form and topic. This is something worrying because Saluang can survive because they adapted to a new situation, and they updated the topic, and they even received the requests from the audience. Unlike other oral traditions such as Kaba and Saluang, performed with Minangkabau traditional music instrument, rabab and saluang. Yeah? So the kaba and saluang perform with traditional music instrument, which is rabab and saluang. Both narrative and story topic of Bakayat are trapped in the form of singing the written text without musical background. So no music, monotonous tone, reading from the repertoire without any adjustment. This is something that we have to worry about. While in Kaba and Salong, the story is adaptable and modifiable to the condition, even to the impromptu request from the audiences, the choice in Bakayat is very limited to Tukang Kayat's repertoire of religious topic, only religious topic, no longer appealing to young audiences. The sustainability and continuity of Bakayat as local tradition are at stake. Of course, yeah, for the new generation shows little attention and interest in learning the endangered oral tradition. Even the storytellers are unable to convince their own children to learn Bakayat. So what do you expect? If they could not convince their own children, so others, is helpless. A further study needs to be done. The government and local adat dignitaries and authorities must take serious measures to promote this unique tradition and encourage the young audience to learn and preserve the oral literature, and equally important, to preserve the local language. This is a test of Bakayat. I will let you get into Bakayat a little bit, just like a teaser, just short one. I think I need to stop it there because I'm afraid I will run out of the batteries. Now I come to concluding remarks. This study documented the oral tradition to be further developed into a more profound and full-fledged study that hopefully will contribute to a short list of scholarship on the Minangkabau oral tradition. While still preliminary, this research on Bakayat is imperative for at least 3 reasons. First reason is this is a wake-up call to save and preserve the endangered oral tradition, which is on the brink of extinction before it is too late and too little. Secondly, it paves the way to a more profound study of Bakayat that can be done in an interdisciplinary and comparative approach, crossing history, linguistics, and literature to achieve what has been called an integrative synthesis. And last but not least, it will get us thinking comparatively across time, space, and our traditional discipline. With that, I conclude this presentation. I'm looking forward to having discussion with you, and sorry for technical problem at the beginning. I'll leave it to Pak Zul. Thank you so very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ibu Yusmarni for the presentation. It's very unfortunate to learn about the possible extinctions of these particular oral traditions. Judging from what you have presented, we are very sorry to hear that the narrators are actually restricted in number, and they do that as a part-time, let's say part-time jobs, and they are not actually, they are modestly educated, if you can say so. Now, I would like to invite questions from the audience.
Should I turn on the share screen, Pak?
Yeah, I think so. So we can see the audience on the screen. Yeah. I would like to invite questions from the audience.
Boleh bahasa Indonesia, Pak Yub?
Boleh, Bu, boleh.
Lagi ya, Taruh Linda.
Ya, Pak Jok.
Ya, Ibu Linda, silakan Ibu.
Terima kasih. Ya, menarik sekali apa yang disampaikan Bu Man. Ya, ada banyak ya di Nusantara termasuk di Minangkabau. Sastra lisan yang selain berfungsi sebagai hiburan masyarakat, karena sastra lisan seperti Badikia, Bersalawat, Bakayat itu selain berfungsi sebagai sarana menyiarkan ajaran Islam, juga ada nilainya. Nah, dari gambar yang saya lihat tadi, itu apakah yang hadir di dalam kegiatan berkaya itu hanya laki-laki saja atau gimana gitu? Kemudian, ya, memang sastra lisan yang difungsikan untuk menyampaikan ajaran-ajaran itu sudah tidak berfungsi lagi gitu. Kemudian keterancamannya itu juga disebabkan mungkin oleh proses pewarisan yang tidak berjalan sebagaimana mestinya, ya. Bahkan mungkin tidak ada, ya, dari pewarisan dari pelaku aktif kepada pembelajar muda, tidak ada gitu. Nah, apakah di dalam Badikia ini ada lembaga pemerintah atau organisasi-organisasi yang memberikan membangun sarana dan memberi ruang untuk proses pewarisannya? Itu aja Bu Man, terima kasih. Terima kasih Pak Jub telah membolehkan dalam bahasa Indonesia.
Terima kasih Bu Linda. So the question is, if I might translate that freely, so the question is about what there is, of course, trouble with preserving the oral tradition. It is not only used for entertainment, but also for education. But there is one question: are all the audience are usually males, women, and also what has the government been done about this, the possible brink of this Bakayat tradition?
Should I answer it right away, Pak?
I think yes. If
Okay.
you can,
yeah. Thank you,
use
Pak.
English
Pak
and
Jub.
Indonesian, so I don't have to translate that.
Thank you, Pak Jub. I can do both. Yeah.
Okay.
And Bu, actually, Bu Linda is a passive English speaker, so she doesn't need a translation, I guess. But she's just very humble not to speak English. She know English, I know, and I believe she can speak English. Okay, as far as the question of whether the audience comprises only of male, actually no. So all of the traditional oral literature in Minangkabau do not limit their audience to one gender only. So both male and female get access to this traditional oral literature. So the answer is both. Yeah, but the thing is they are getting less popular in terms of in terms of the young audience. Now about pemerintah, that's what I call my wake-up call is implying that there is, so far up to today, there is no support at all from the government. There is no support, there is no attention, not even from the Dirjen Kebudayaan. Something that we feel very sad about this. That's why I said this research, even though it is preliminary, is a wake-up call. Wake-up call means alarm. Yeah, this is an alarm to our society before we are forced to say what we have done are too little and too late. Sebelum semuanya terlambat. So we need to push government and other adat dignitaries and other stakeholders to our culture to pay attention, not only passively documenting, but to actively taking part in preserving this culture. Until, don't wait until it is too late. And just like Sijobang, if you browse in internet now, in Sijobang, you will find the last man, the last narrator of Sijobang. Tukang Sijobang terakhir. We don't want that to happen in Bakayat. So please, everyone, you have access because you are at a university, and some of us are in a very good terms with government, which could push the government and many related institution and affiliation to pay attention on this and the brink of on the brink of extinction. That's why in my concluding remark, you can see the picture of Bakayat is sliding into, almost terjun bebas, free jump to lurah, to whatever it is. So no, and big no. So please, everyone, take your share, take your responsibility to push before everything is too late. Thank you, Pak.
Thank you, Ibu Man. Saya tidak perlu terjemahkan Ibu Linda ya. Jadi
Bu
pemerintah
Linda
tidak berbuat apa-apa.
Boleh Pak Jub?
Yes, we still have 2 minutes pause. Time's yours.
Okay, Bu Man.
Yes.
Bakayat is different from Saluang and Rabat and other oral tradition. Saluang, Rabab, and others can easily be found on internet and so on. Woman, is it because of language? Because it seems that the language of Bakayat is rather static. I don't know. Maybe it is related to topic on religion, so that it is hard to understand and the language is not dynamic and so on and so on. What is your opinion on that, woman? Language style of Bakayat?
Thank you. Pak Jub?
Yeah, you may answer that directly, Bu.
Yeah, because you are moderator, I don't want to trespass. Thank you, Pak Us. Yes, so our concern not only on the external factors of Bakayat, but also in internal factors of Bakayat. The repository, the language, the topic, the way how it is presented is less attractive compared to Saluang. Because in Saluang, youngsters keep, a crowd, youngsters crowd is still around. Why? Because in Saluang, the topic is of, can be varied, including the youth life, hidup muda-mudi, asmara, love, and even the topic could be could be requested. And there's no such thing as a rigid and fixed repository of Saluang. So in this case, what make it less and less ditanggap, diundang, less and less invited because of all these factors combined together. When I'm calling for an immediate action, it doesn't mean to only for those who are outside of Bakayat itself or external part of Bakayat, but also internal part. It would be good, it would be fantastic if we could take everyone, stakeholders, the Bakayat people, the audience, the people in the village, to talk about this. What are the measures need to be taken in order to save this, precious literature from extinction? We have to sit down together, government, other dignitaries, tokoh masyarakat, and then academics, of course, academics, and also other stakeholders. And last but not least, the most important thing is the tukang kayat themselves, because there is no regeneration. If this tukang kayat pass away, the chances is we are going to lose this forever. So it's really, when I said it is on the brink of extinction, it is in the brink of extinction. And it is indeed a wake-up call for us all. I hope to steer people emotion in this way, because this is something that, time is something that we cannot buy back. If it is extinct, it's difficult for us to revive this literature in the future. Don't cry over the spilled milk. Save the energy now or never. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibu Man, for the wonderful presentations. Even though the topic is actually it's very worrying for us. Yeah. I think that's the end of our sessions for the second invited speakers of our seminar. Thank you again, Uman.